got a question from Toronto, Canada.
This is Prab Noor calling from Toronto. I recently turned 20 on my first day back on campus. I was nervous most of the time because I understood that the semester ahead was going to be heavy in terms of work. So is there a way to have a class load that makes room for your hobbies? I'm currently enrolled in a 4-year interior design degree program, bachelor's. So if there isn't an option for part-time studies, what can full-time students do in creating a balance with their hobbies and school?
Catherine, we sometimes talk about balance. You actually talk about balance in your book as well. And the thing that I've come to understand is balance is the default state. And we only go seeking balance when things have become out of balance. There's never like a really bored person who's in a monastery and they're meditating all day and they're saying, how do I find more balance?
Yeah.
What happens is we heap on a bunch of obligations or expectations from other people. And then, of course, we feel out of balance. And it is only when we feel out of balance that we then seek balance. A balanced person is never actually seeking the balance that they have, though. It's like riding a bike. If you start riding a bike, at first you might be off balance, but you're not trying to even find balance there. You're trying to ride the bike. And once you've started riding the bike, you're still not seeking balance. You just happen to be balanced.
Right. Right. I mean, balance is a tricky word because I think in the world of commercial wellness, we have created this myopic, reductive version of it, where it means being good at being busy. So if you say to someone, and particularly women get this message, that, oh, she's so balanced, what you're saying is not she's hit her sweet spot of energetic equilibrium, which is what you're talking about, the actual core definition of balance. What you're saying is she can do a million things and not drop the ball. Look at her go. And that's not what balance is. And it sounds like this caller is trying to figure out how to be good at being busy, when I would suggest her to direct her thoughts towards the intention of this next point in her life and these next years. And the intention is different than a goal. And if your goal is to make honors and, also be able to have gone from beginner to middle level in exactly 3 hobbies, then you can do that. But what's going to be a more powerful strategy is to say, by the end of college, I want to have been able to say that I really offered my true self in the relationship opportunities that I had, whether those were friendships, mentors who you were inspired by, romantic partners, the relationship to yourself, like an intention like that doesn't have generic metrics, that only you can say whether you did a good job on that or not, is a much more powerful driving force than being able to say, I finished my scroll of a to-do list.
I love your use of that word, generic, too, because that's precisely what we become when we subscribe to a notion of balance that says, I must equally distribute all of my creative energy across all activities in life.
Yeah.
Well, what am I biased towards?
Yeah.
Right? When I look back on my college years or whatever it is, what do I want to see me having spent more of my time and energy on? What's most rewarding to me?
Yeah, it's so wild that this question came up because before this book came out, and it came out last month, around November, I had this dream. And I don't dream every night, but when I do, I mean, you got to give me a break. I'm a therapist. I believe in the power of dreams, right? And there have been a couple of dreams in my life where I've been like, whoa, that is very clear to me that this is a message from my unconscious. Something's going on here. I need to pay attention to this. And I had this wild dream around November when I was starting to feel a lot of anxiety about, I'm not a writer by trade, and it's hard to write a book, to say the least. And then the publicity and promotional part of it is also just, getting thrown in the deep end. And I have this dream one night and all this crazy stuff happens. And then at the end, there's a voice. That's not my voice. It's like a man's voice. And it said, this is your senior year of college. And I wrote it on a sticky note because what I interpreted that to mean was my senior year of college. I was like, okay, I need to apply to these doctoral programs. I need to get my reference letters from these people. I have 2 weeks to do this. I need to get, these grades so that I can get into this grad school. And if I could just plant myself back on Telegraph Street in Berkeley, where I used to live in college, and just be like, don't worry about the to-do list for today and just enjoy yourself. Like, that would have been such a gift. And I was so focused on all this stuff. I mean, I still had fun too, but I was so over-indexed on getting this stuff done that I didn't actually enjoy it. And it was almost like coming back, that dream was like, just enjoy this. You're not going to get all the stuff done. You're not going to, it's not going to matter. This is like your senior of college, have fun. And so I've been taking that into all of these interviews and talks, and it's just so much more fun. It's so much, like, it feels so much more alive to just let yourself enjoy the thing you're doing now.
Yeah.
I'm a habitual completionist, and thinking that as soon as it gets complete, then I am complete. I think it started with consumerism, with money. Like, if I just have a certain amount of money, and you realize, like, oh, if you make $50,000 a year, well, then if you start spending like you have $60,000 a year, now you're in debt. And so now I'm not complete. Oh, now I need more money. When that doesn't work, it's maybe more stuff will complete me. And when stuff doesn't work, then it is spirituality, or it is letting go of the stuff will make me happy. And you realize, like, that's just another form of completionism. And completionism is a form of perfectionism.
So when you look at the term perfect, if you take it back to the Latin root, perficere, per meaning completely and facere meaning done, perfection actually means completely done. It does not mean flawless. And we use the term perfect to describe completeness all the time. Like, if you say someone's a perfect stranger, you're not saying that stranger is flawless. You're saying this stranger is complete. This person is a complete stranger to me. And so what perfectionists are seeking is actually not flawlessness. It's wholeness that is always going to be internally sourced. And when you are not putting your perfectionism in check, you're going to do exactly what you're saying, right? You're going to say, I will be whole when I get this exterior thing. Like, that's what perfectionism is, trying to get your inner world and your outer world to match perfectly, to be in perfect alignment. And that can happen when you are present. But presence is the only ideal that anyone can ever actually achieve. Because when you're present, you are accepting the reality of what is, and you're also in a space of accepting the possibility of what could be. And that's why perfectionists gravitate towards presence so much. But the problem is they try to reverse engineer it. Like, oh, when my house is all clean and the Windex isn't behind the cup, and then this is here, and this, then I'll feel whole, relaxed, joyful, perfect, not resentful at all. Like, all the stuff we feel when we're present. And so that's a really powerful game changer of, like, you already are perfect. You're already completely done. You're a whole human being. You always have been. That makes you automatically worthy of all this stuff. There is no need to try to be something you already are. You don't need to try to win stuff that already belongs to you. The point is to enjoy it.
Did you enjoy this standalone Patreon highlight? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalist Private Podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists or click the link in the description. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.